The Billionaire's kind heart smoke off 4th Street. "Yo, Jada, move that damn cart before the sky flips on us," Big Ray shouted, wiping sweat and rain off his brow while sirens wailed somewhere up I-65. Jada Brooks hardly heard him. She was hustling, sliding her last tray of pepper steak pies onto the red-hot griddle. Steam shot upward like church incense, curling through the yellow streetlights that flickered against gathering storm clouds. Wind snapped her crimson headscarf, making it look like she wore a rebel flag of hope. Thunder cracked overhead. Plastic picnic tables rattled, cans rolled. A panicked couple darted past, coats flapping, cussing about the Fulton Springs monsoon. Jada's customers scattered too, leaving half-finished colas sweating on the plywood counter. She hollered, "Hold up, folks, pies ain't scared of rain." But the marketplace emptied as the first fat drops smacked asphalt. Lightning flared, and that's when she saw him. A gaunt old man trudging down 4th, clothes hanging off his bones like tired drapes. No shoes, no umbrella, cheeks caked with red Alabama dust turned muddy by the drizzle. He froze at the corner, blinking at her neon hand-painted sign, Jada's Soul Pies, then lowered his gaze, maybe ashamed to want what he couldn't buy. Big Ray's laugh split the air. "Girl, shut it down. That hobo got nothing but fleas." He kicked a milk crate aside, already counting his afternoon money. Jada pretended she didn't hear, heart hammering as the man's ribs shivered beneath a soaked tea once white, now the color of storm water. The smell of ozone and pepper gravy swirled together, making her stomach twist. She flipped one pie, golden crust sizzling, and called, "Unc, you hungry?" The old man's eyes shot wide, hope and fear fencing behind them. He shuffled closer. "Ma'am, I ain't got a cent." His voice cracked like a busted radio, but manners stayed. "Didn't mean to trouble you." Jada's own wallet felt lighter than a wish, yet she heard her mama's voice. "If God gives you 2 loaves, hand out one before your hands forget how." So she snatched the freshest pie, wrapped it in wax paper, and pushed it across the counter. "Storm's nasty. Get some heat in you." Rain spattered his face, merging with tears he pretended weren't there. He clutched the food like treasure, mumbling something close to "bless you, child," before sinking onto a curb beneath the busted street lamp. A horn blared. Jada jerked around. A rust-red Chevy truck fishtailed on slick pavement, fish, splashing her ankles. Grease hissed, lightning flashed blue. She cursed under her breath, caught herself, then saw Big Ray filming on his phone, probably for clicks. "Pie girl feeding the trash." Embarrassment flared hot, but anger hotter. She shot him a glare that could melt steel. Ray pocketed his phone, smirking. "Kind hearts end up broke, sweetheart." He rattled his cash box for effect. "Life ain't no fairy tale, and you ain't Cinderella." "Keep talking, Ray," she muttered, wiping raindrops off her brow. But doubt pricked her. Rent day loomed. Her mama's insulin wasn't cheap, and now she'd be $9 short on the market stall fee. The thunder rolled again as if co-signing Ray's cynicism. Across the street, neon from a pawn shop flashed like a dying star. Loans, 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 all red and desperate. Jada clenched her jaw, turned the burners off. Steam curled ghost-like around her hands. For a heartbeat, she wondered if kindness was just another bill she couldn't afford. Then she looked back at the curb. The old man ate slow, savoring every bite, eyes closing in near holy relief. Each chew softened the harsh lines on his face, and Jada felt something shift in the night. An invisible click like destiny setting its gears. Rain eased to a mist, and the street lamp over him sputtered, then glowed steady, bathing him in warm gold. Jada exhaled. Maybe she would scrape those $9 somehow. Maybe she'd hawk her headphones or skip dinner. But right now, seeing a stranger's ribs no longer shiver felt richer than a pocket full of wet bills. She packed her cart, whispering, "God, I'm trusting you on this one." The market emptied. Even Big Ray rolled out, tires spitting puddles. Clouds drifted apart, leaving a slice of violet sky above Fulton Springs. Jada pushed her cart home through the quiet puddles, reflecting her headscarf like a crimson comet. Behind her, the old man finished the last crumb, wiped his mouth, and watched her disappear into the glowing haze. A faint smile tugged at his cracked lips, part gratitude, part secret, before he rose, spine straighter than when he'd arrived, and melted into the shadows, unseen but not unmarked. Rainwater kept time on the rooftops, whispering a rumor that 4th Street would soon tell in every barbershop and church pew. How a single hot pie turned the night, and how the night in turn would rewrite more than one life. The dollar she didn't have, Jada, woke to sun slicing through cheap blinds, painting jail bar shadows across her studio walls. Her phone buzzed. Mama needed insulin by Friday, landlord wanted rent by noon, and the Fulton Springs Market Authority reminded every vendor the stall fee jumped to $60. Cash only, no excuses. Jada counted last night's earnings twice, breathed slow, then counted again. $51 and some lint. $9 short, same number dogging her like a stray. She hustled down 4th with her cart rattling behind, wheels squeaking a sad blues riff. The morning smelled of wet pavement, brewing chicory, and magnolia blossoms knocked from the trees by last night's storm. Neighbors waved, but she barely saw them. Her mind replayed Big Ray's voice. Kind hearts end up broke. She shook it off, muttering, "Devil is a liar," and pushed faster. At the market gate, a guard scanned her badge. "Fees up, Miss Brooks." He tapped the clipboard like a metronome of worry. Jada forced a grin. "Got you covered, Rodney." Heart lied while pockets told truth. Stalls buzzed alive, gospel booming from a speaker, kids chasing pigeons, vendors hawking collards and catfish. Big Ray was already frying, grease popping like tiny fireworks. He flashed that smug grin, waving a fat roll of bills. "Told you, Cinderella, rain or shine, Ray gets paid." Jada ignored him, set her cart, fired the griddle. Pies hissed, butter melting into soft sizzle. She charmed customers with quick jokes, but every sale felt like running uphill on glass. Noon crept in with merciless heat. Sweat rolled down her neck. She checked the till, $48 earned today. Add last night's leftovers, still 3 short. A knot twisted inside her chest. Rodney's shadow loomed. "Fees due now," he said, voice apologetic. Jada swallowed, opened her mouth, then a hand slapped 3 crisp singles onto her counter. She spun around. Marvin Deacon, the shy produce guy 2 stalls down, shrugged. "Heard you needed a couple dollars." He blushed deeper than ripe tomatoes. "Pay me back whenever." Jada's pride flared, but gratitude won. "Marvin, you a lifesaver." She tucked the bills in, heart lighter for half a second. Then chaos hit. A black Ford sedan screeched to a stop, city seal on the door. Out stepped Ms. Clayton, the health inspector, navy suit sharp enough to slice bread. Vendors went silent. Even pigeons froze. Big Ray whispered, "Bet she nails you on something, girl." Ms. Clayton marched straight to Jada's cart, notebook ready. Jada's pulse thundered in her ears. She'd cleaned but maybe missed a crumb. Inspector lifted a pie with gloved hands, sniffed, eyed the temper gauge, scribbled. "Your cart's unusually spotless," she said, tone unreadable. "Where'd you learn hygiene like that?" Jada stammered. "Just... Mama taught me. Clean kitchen saves souls." Clayton's stern face cracked a tiny smile. She signed her sheet, ripped off the pink copy, and handed it over. "Pass. Perfect scores don't come easy. Keep feeding folks, right?" Then she turned away, heels clicking like victory drums. Big Ray's curse word floated on humid air. Pride warmed Jada's cheeks, but suspicion crept in. Why target her first? Why smile? She glanced up and spotted half a block away the same ragged man from last night, now dressed a notch cleaner. New sneakers, but the same battered backpack. He watched her through the bustle, eyes bright as if checking an answer to a secret question. Before she spoke, a bus rumbled by. When it passed, he was gone. Rodney returned, receipts in hand. "Fee paid. You good till end of month." Jada exhaled so hard her scarf fluttered. She thanked Marvin, served half the block, and felt the knot easing. Yet the image of the mystery man clung to her mind like pie dough to fingers, soft, insistent, impossible to shake. Later, while closing, she found a folded note beneath the till. Paper dry, though everything else was damp with sweat. 4 words in neat script. "Keep sewing warm bread." No signature, no hint. Goosebumps pricked her arms. She scanned the darkening street, nothing but twilight and distant jazz spilling from a bar. Walking home, Jada wondered if kindness worked like seeds, buried in dirt today, blooming when you least expect. She still owed Marvin $3 and Mama's insulin deadline hadn't moved. But her spirit felt strangely richer. Crickets sang. Fireflies sparked over drainage ditches, and the heavy summer air smelled not of desperation but possibility. Like the whole town held its breath, waiting for the story behind one hot pie to unfold. Empty pockets, heavy night. Jada locked her cart, flipped the tarp over the griddle, and headed for the bus stop. Moonlight splashing silver across cracked sidewalks. Cicadas hollered in the oaks like they had gossip to spill. Her backpack felt lighter than truth. Just a tub of leftover filling, Marvin's IOU receipt, and that cryptic note, "Keep sewing warm bread." She read it twice, tucked it near her heart, then pushed earbuds in, letting old-school R&B drown the day's static. Halfway down Magnolia Avenue, a patrol cruiser idled by the curb. Blue lights pulsed once. Quick greeting, not trouble. Officer Keisha Jordan leaned out. "Evening, Pie Queen. You good walking this late?" Jada smiled. "I'm straight, sis. Bus'll be here in 2. Jordan nodded, rolled on. Jada felt thankful. Small-town cops sometimes acted like family. The bus wheezed up, brakes squealing louder than church tambourines. Only 3 riders boarded. An elderly woman clutching groceries, a high school boy practicing rap bars under his breath, and a man hunched to the very back, hood up, face shadowed. Jada's pulse fluttered. Logan Street rumors said folks vanished on night buses. She sat midway, kept eyes forward, but the note in her pocket seemed to glow, daring fate. 2 stops later, thunder low-key rumbled again, though the sky was clear, a southern omen, Grandma used to say. The hooded man rose, shuffled down the aisle. For a heartbeat, Jada swore she smelled pepper gravy and wet earth. Same scent from the ragged stranger. He dropped a folded newspaper in the trash can by the exit and slipped off into darkness. Doors hissed shut. Curiosity tickled her brain. She grabbed the paper before the driver could move. Inside, a Polaroid fluttered out. Jada's cart last night, steam curling, her hand placing that pie into the homeless man's palms. On the back, neat script again. Kindness is a mirror. Look and see who you are. Her breath hitched. She glanced out the smeared window. The street was empty except for fireflies winking like distant cameras. A chill nipped at her skin despite the sticky heat. Who took that photo? Why watch her? Downtown lights faded behind pine trees as the bus cruised toward Riverbend Projects, where Jada rented a shoebox of an apartment. She tucked the photo away, but her mind looped worst-case scenarios. Stalker? Scam? She thumbed Marvin's contact, almost called, then closed the phone. Pride said she could handle her own shadows. The driver barked, "Last stop." Jada stepped onto gravel. Street lamps flickered, moths dancing in their glow. Far off, the Black Warrior River glimmered, moonlight rippling like melted steel. She hurried past chain-link fences and busted swing sets. Halfway to her building, a voice croaked, "Miss Brooks." She spun, keys between knuckles like claws. The ragged man stood beneath a willow, cleaner now but still humble. New plaid shirt, jeans a size too big, shoes tied tight. Moonlight caught his eyes, sharp, almost young. "Don't be scared," he said, hands up. "Wanted to thank you proper." Jada's heartbeat jackhammered. "You followed me?" He shook his head. "I followed the lesson. Folks been testing me for years, wanting what I got. You wanted nothing but to feed a soul." Lightning bugs framed them, tiny lanterns. Jada tasted fear and curiosity swirling. "Who are you?" Her voice cracked. He stepped closer, pressed a small envelope into her palm. "Someone your mama prayed for." Then he walked away, slow like the scene didn't deserve rush, disappeared behind the willow's leafy curtain. Jada ripped the envelope open under the stairwell light. Inside lay a cashier's check, $10,000 payable to Jada Brooks. Her knees buckled. She sat on cold steps, breath shallow. A sticky note stuck to the check read simply, "Invest in your dream. Repay the world." Wind kicked up, carrying honeysuckle and river mist. At that moment, Marvin texted, "You make it home safe?" She stared at the glowing screen, tears blurring numbers on the check. She typed back, "Safe," but the night just flipped the script. "Tell you tomorrow." Thunder rumbled again, distant, approving, while Jada looked out over Fulton Springs, heart wild with questions. $10,000 could move mountains, clear Mama's medical debt, upgrade her cart to a food truck, secure real kitchen space. Yet the gift felt like a test bigger than money, like a parable she hadn't finished reading. She climbed to her apartment, laid the check on the tiny kitchen table beside a cracked salt shaker and a half-burned candle. Moonlight poured through the window, turning the paper gold. Jada whispered a prayer of thanks and caution, then blew out the candle. Outside, the city hummed low, holding secrets and new storms. She sensed wheels turning in the dark, spinning a fate no one on 4th Street could predict, least of all the pie queen who gave away her last crust on a rainy night. The man in the suit. Saturday sun roasted Fulton Springs like cornbread left too long in the oven, but the market throbbed anyway. Saxophonist riffing on "A Change Is Gonna Come," grease-popping kids chasing the sprinkler truck for a flash-cool mist. Jada rolled in late, mind still spinning around the 10 grand check taped under her mattress. Every parked Escalade made her stomach flutter. Every ragged shirt made her look twice. She felt hunted by blessings she didn't yet trust. Big Ray clocked the worry across her face and grinned shark-wide. Morning, moneybags. Heard Ms. Perfect Score got a mystery donor. Must be nice. Jada fired the griddle without answering. The sizzle drowned his taunts, but not the sting in her chest. She needed pie sales to look normal. Last thing she wanted was folks guessing she'd come into cash. Humility, Mama always said, keeps pride from running its mouth. At high noon, a low bass rumble rolled up forth. Black Escalade, windows tinted darker than secrets. It slid to a stop like a panther stalking hens. Market chatter fizzled. Even the sax went mute. The driver, a young woman in a razor-sharp suit, stepped out first, scanned the scene like Secret Service. Then rear doors opened. Out came the ragged man, except ragged was gone. Preston Cole wore a charcoal suit that hugged his broad shoulders, pocket square the color of Jada's headscarf, loafers shining hard. The week's grit was washed away, beard trimmed regal. He moved with a quiet gravity that claimed space the way tide claims shoreline. 2 bodyguards flanked him, yet he waved them back, eyes locked on Jada's stand. Big Ray muttered, "No damn way," wiping his hands on a greasy apron. He shoved closer, hungry for whatever spectacle might humiliate his rival. Jada's throat dried. She nearly missed the spatula turning pies. Preston stopped 3 feet from her cart, and the crowd pressed in like rubberneckers at a wreck. He spoke loud enough for every nosy vendor to hear. "Ms. Jada Brooks, you fed me when my body shook from hunger, and the whole street treated me like trash. You gave away the only food you had left. Tell me, what did that pie cost you?" Jada's voice barely squeaked. "Cost? It was just a pie, sir." He smiled, warm as July dusk. "Kindness costs more than folks imagine." He turned to the crowd. "Yesterday I was a beggar. Today I stand here as CEO of Cole Southern Hospitality, employing 8,000 folks in 5 states. Gasps popped like popcorn. A child dropped her lollipop. Preston reached into his jacket, pulled out a leather folder, opened it on Jada's counter like scripture on a pulpit. Inside lay a formal offer letter, culinary school scholarship, and a starter investment larger than the check under her mattress. "I'm purchasing the vacant diner on Maple and 13th. You'll run it as executive chef. We'll expand your pies statewide. One clause, Thursdays remain free meal day. You good with that?" Jada's knees trembled. Marvin Deacon, clutching a crate of collards, edged closer, eyes shining proud and maybe a bit wistful. Big Ray blurted, "You kidding? She can barely keep food hot on that busted griddle." Preston didn't spare him a glance. Bodyguard 1 step forward, Ray stepped back, grease dots on his Crocs. Jada finally found her tongue. "Sir, I don't even own Chef White's, let alone—" "Uniforms on me," Preston cut in. "But souls on you, that's what I'm investing in." Crowd murmured like revival service. Some filmed on phones, others wiped tears. The saxophonist struck a mellow chord, sensing the moment's music. Jada stared at the folder, mind ping-ponging between fear and fire. 10,000 had felt massive last night. This offer felt like standing at the mouth of a canyon. Echoes of Mama's prayers bouncing off red cliffs. She glanced at Marvin. Soft nod, silent. "You can do this." She thought of insulin vials, overdue rent, and Big Ray's laughter. Then she thought of the old man's trembling hands holding hot crust, and how her own hands had stopped shaking since. Jada reached for the pen. Her fingers hovered, then pressed firm. Signature curved across paper like a river finally meeting gulf. Applause erupted. Preston clasped her hand, low voice just for her. "Keep sewing warm bread, chef." He stepped aside as cameras flashed, turning Fulton Springs Market into a glow of phone screens and whispered legend. Big Ray stormed off, fryer basket clanging, pride scorched. Marvin set his collards down and pulled Jada into a hug that smelled of earth and possibility. Tears slid down her cheeks, sizzled into steam above the pies still cooking. Pies she'd finished selling because habit and humility die hard. Clouds gathered, promising another quick southern storm, but no one scattered. People wanted to stand in the moment where a street vendor's kindness broke the dam between poverty and purpose. And Jada, headscarf fluttering like a victory flag, felt the first fat raindrops hit her skin, cool, sweet baptismal, washing away the last crumbs of doubt as her new future opened wide as Alabama sky. Sweet turnaround reporters still clogged 4th Street when Monday cracked open, their mics poking like curious birds, but Jada barely heard them. She was buckled in the back of Preston Cole's sedan, staring at her reflection in the tinted glass, asking who that confident woman might be. The Escalade slid through downtown Birmingham toward Cole Southern Hospitality's headquarters. Gleaming steel and glass that mirrored the sky like ambition without clouds. Inside a top-floor boardroom, suits circled a walnut table longer than a city bus. They studied Jada the way chefs study raw dough, wondering if she would rise. Investor Willis Garner cleared his throat. "Mr. Cole, philanthropy's cute, but free meal Thursdays cut margins." Preston's gaze stayed calm. "Generosity builds brand value, Willis. Ask Chick-fil-A." Laughter skittered, tension thick as rue. Jada's palms sweated. She felt like a kid caught sneaking candy. Still, when Preston asked her to speak, she stood. "Sir, a full belly makes a loyal customer. Hungry folks become walking billboards." Her voice shook but held. The oldest board member, Ms. Lyle, tapped her pen twice, a silent amen. The motion to approve the Maple 13th diner passed by 1 vote. Jada exhaled so hard she saw spots. That night she toured the dusty diner, checkered tiles cracked, windows clouded with grease ghosts. Marvin showed up uninvited, toolbox in hand. "Heard you need muscle, chef." He fixed the broken neon open sign while they joked about roaches paying rent. Under flickering light, something warm flicked between them, but Jada kept focus. No time for romance in a kitchen still coughing cobwebs. Tuesday dawned with culinary school orientation. White-tiled halls smelled of bleach and nerves. Chef instructor Delgado, Philly accent sharp, eyed Jada's thrift store sneakers. "Talent ain't in the shoes, it's in the wrists. Show me knife skills." Her chiffonade looked more like shredded lettuce. Delgado grunted. "We'll unlearn your street habits." Shame burned, yet an ember of grit glowed brighter. "Watch me grow." Across town, Big Ray livestreamed from his stall, flipping pies while ranting how some folks forget the block once they taste rich man vaults. Comments poured hearts and laughing emojis. Jada glimpsed it during break. Doubt slithered under her chef whites. She nearly texted a clapback, then remembered Mama's mantra, "Mud thrown is mud carried." She put the phone away and practiced julienne until fingers cramped. Wednesday evening, the diner's renovation rolled like gospel revival. Volunteers from the project's painted walls mango yellow. Officer Keisha strung fairy lights. Kids from the after-school program labeled spice jars. Every brushstroke hummed community. Marvin brought pans of mac and cheese to fuel the crew. His smile lingered on Jada longer each trip. She caught herself humming love songs she hadn't played in years, then shook it off with a laugh. Progress first, butterflies later. Thursday, Judgment Day. Free meal launch. Lines snaked around the block. Single moms, laid-off steelworkers, teens in band hoodies, even Big Ray in a hoodie pulled low. News vans parked, investors watched from polished sedans. Jada, wrapped in a fresh red headscarf, commanded the kitchen like a drum major. Pies slid from ovens, crusts blistered perfect, steam smelling of pepper and mercy. Volunteers plated greens and cornbread. Delgado himself sliced brisket. She's top of her class already, don't waste the bark. Outside, Preston welcomed guests, but eyes stayed on Jada through the pass window. Finally, Big Ray reached the counter. Their gazes locked, history thick as molasses. She lifted a pie, set it before him without charge. Storm's rough enough, she echoed her own words from that night. His shoulders sagged, arrogance leaked out like flat soda. Appreciate it, he mumbled, taking a bite that closed his eyes in surrender. Investors murmured at the sheer joy in the room, strangers laughing like cousins at reunion. Willis Garner nudged Preston. Maybe generosity does pay dividends. Preston winked. Told you, Willis, soul food needs soul. When the last plate washed clean, Jada stepped onto the sidewalk. The crowd erupted in applause meant for her alone. Fireflies stitched gold thread through humid air, weaving promise into night. Marvin approached with 2 sweet teas, handed her one. To the pie queen, he said. She raised her cup. To warm bread and full hearts. Their cups clicked, a small sound swallowed by a city buzzing with new legend. Thunder rumbled far off, but no one rushed. Rain would come, pies would sell, and Thursdays would stay free because kindness, once tasted, made people crave more. And Jada Brooks, former street vendor, now executive chef, understood the deepest recipe of all. Give, and the world seasons your table with flavors money can't buy. A pie for every soul Christmas Eve. Snow fell soft over Birmingham, turning streetlights into halos and the Maple 13th diner into a glowing lantern against the hush. Inside, a brass quartet slid through silent night. Cinnamon steamed from coffee mugs, and Jada Brooks paced behind the pass window in her crimson scarf and starched chef coat. 6 months had spun her life like a record. Culinary school honors, magazine spreads, and a franchise roadmap inked for 5 more heart and crust cafes. Yet tonight mattered more than glossy write-ups. Tonight was the first holiday service, free seats only, no VIP list, no price tags. Every soul in line carried a story too heavy for Santa's sleigh. A bitter wind cracked the door and Big Ray burst in, cheeks red, stomping snow off boots. He no longer slung pies on 4th. After Jada's rise, his stall tanked. Still, he stepped up to the counter, eyes lowered. Chef, he muttered, my auntie passed. Family short on food. Thought maybe. His voice broke like ice on a pond. Jada handed him 2 tins. Jerk turkey shepherd pie, sweet potato crumble. No sermon. Storm's rough enough, she whispered. Same words that started everything. Ray's shoulders shook. He slipped out, clutching warmth that smelled of forgiveness. Across the room, Marvin Deacon arranged poinsettias by the window, sneaking glances at Jada. He wore a navy blazer that made his brown eyes glow ember bright. Since renovation days, their friendship simmered like stew, unspoken but rich. Preston Cole watched them from a corner booth, dapper in a burgundy suit, cane propped beside him. He tapped it twice, summoned Marvin. Young man, ain't no sense locking feelings in the freezer, he murmured. Marvin blushed, nodding like a kid caught staring at dessert. Mid-service, a frenzy of sirens flared. Officer Keisha rushed in with 2 shivering runaways. Teen brothers, coats thin as paper. Jada hustled them to the pass, slid bowls of gumbo under their blue lips. One boy stared at her chef whites. "Ma'am, you famous, why feed folks like us?" Jada knelt so their eyes met. "Fame don't fill stomachs, baby, kindness does." The elder brother's shoulders eased, steam curling off gumbo like spirit rising. Snow thickened outside, cloaking tire ruts, muting the city. Power lines sagged, lights flickered. A collective gasp rippled when the diner went dark, music silenced, only emergency exit signs glowing eerie green. Marvin darted to the breaker, nothing. Preston clicked his cane. "Generator's in my truck," he said, "but roads are iced." Jada grabbed her scarf. "Y'all keep candles lit, I'll fetch it." Marvin caught her wrist. Not alone. She met his eyes. Electricity sparked stronger than any grid. They braved the blizzard, snow whipping sideways, breaths frosting in moonlit gusts. Halfway to the parking lot, a power pole creaked, wires snapping overhead. Marvin shoved Jada clear. A live cable slammed sparks into slush where she'd stood. He dragged her behind a delivery van, heartbeat drumming in her ears louder than the wind. She stared at him, adrenaline and something tender spiraling together. "You okay?" he asked. She laughed, shaky. "I think you just baked yourself into my story for good." He grinned, snowflakes catching on his lashes. "Been waiting on that green light, chef." They reached the Escalade, heaved the portable generator onto a dolly, skidded back. Inside, patrons huddled around candlelit tables singing, "This Little Light of Mine." Jada's heart swelled. The diner didn't need bright bulbs to stay radiant. Still, when the generator rumbled alive and lights returned, cheers erupted, bouncing off chrome and tile like drumline echoes. Preston stood, cane tapping for hush. "Family," he thundered, voice rich as organ pipes. "Tonight proves success ain't counted in dollars, but in dishes shared when winter bites hard." He raised a mug of cocoa. "To the pie queen who reminded me money's just cold metal till kindness warms it." Applause rolled. Jada's cheeks burned warmer than ovens. Marvin slipped beside her, slid a tiny box into her flour-dusted hand. Not a ring. Inside lay a silver pie server engraved "So warm bread." "No matter how high you rise," he said, voice low, "let me help you keep slicing love." Jada's eyes shimmered. She squeezed his hand, promise exchanging without big speeches. Closing time neared, yet folks lingered, reluctant to leave the glow. Snow eased, moon carving halos on fresh drifts. Jada stepped outside, breathing night air spiced with chimney smoke and destiny. Across the street, Big Ray's silhouette placed tins on doorsteps of boarded houses, knocking once, vanishing like a secret Santa. Kindness once tasted proved contagious. Jada turned back to her diner. Fairy lights twinkling, windows fogged by laughter, a sanctuary stitched from one hot pie and an open heart. She realized the old note's truth. Kindness was a mirror. In its reflection, she saw not just herself, but a whole community standing taller, fed in body and in hope. She whispered to the night, "Let every crust I bake tell this story." Above, church bells tolled midnight, carrying her vow over snowy roofs, sealing the parable for anyone still hungry for miracles.